Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Thank you for joining us for our next Digital Business Kit webinar of our series with the National Retail Association. If this is the first time that you've joined us, the idea behind this series of webinars is that they are built by retailers for retailers. So each month, we encourage you to contact us with your questions and queries on the hot retail topics of the moment so we can build engaging webinars to help you answer those questions. My name's Vikki, I'm from Retail Doctor Group, and my details are on the screen now, so do get in touch via email and or Twitter to submit your questions and ideas for our next webinar, which will be happening on the first week of June. And you have the opportunity of choosing the topic, direction of the webinar, and getting your questions answered. So don't miss out on having your say. So as you all know, this month we are discussing personalisation within your retail offer. Everyone likes the personal touch, whether it's your local barista remembering your morning coffee order or a website suggesting a top to go with those jeans you bought last month. Today, offering a service which is special and thoughtful makes retailers stand out from the crowd. And so in this webinar, we'll start with the who, what, and how of personalisation, looking at a few examples of seeing significant return on investment from personalisation. And we'll end with some tips on how you can begin personalising your retail offer today, no matter what your size or budget. Now, we will try and keep this to a nice, short, condensed webinar. I know a lot of you are on your lunch break at the moment, so we'll aim to be done in around 20 minutes. So let's get started. According to a study by O2 and John Lewis in the UK, which was on the rise of me-tail, 56% of consumers said that they'd be more inclined to use a retailer if it offered a good personalised experience. And considering that personalisation could lift sales by 7.8%, this is definitely something we would be silly to ignore. So why choose personalisation now? Personalisation in the retail offer has always been vitally important, but even more so today, with disruptive brands such as Uber, Amazon, and Airbnb reshaping customer expectations. These companies are raising the bar for customer experience as they provide affordable products or services in real time. The way consumers research, share opinions, reach your brand, the speed at which they seek information and excitement, and the time that they have to engage with your brand is also changing. Traditional retailers can, of course, compete with the Ubers of the world, but to do so, they must be agile and flexible and install a culture of concierge-like service in their organization. Of course, we can't talk about personalization without mentioning convenience. We are living in a time-poor, digitally enabled convenience economy, where convenience is not only a key driver for purchase decisions, but consumers are seeking to actually buy back time, with many perceiving time as the key luxury. Saving time is still a key driver behind the continued rise of the consumer preference for local shopping and shopping online. Numerous studies on convenience orientation have revealed that just how much the impact of perception of a service's convenience affects the overall evaluation of service. Now, of course, the leader in this field, as we all know, is Amazon, and it's clear to see why millions of dollars have been spent on the dispute over the one-click patent that Amazon currently holds. And I've just seen recently that they've also filed a patent for the technology used to make purchases with selfies. So we'll see how that one evolves. And this is obviously because convenience has such a major impact on a customer's decision to engage with a service. So what's the best way to cater to this need for convenience? Well, it's by truly understanding their personal needs, product requirements, sizes, and style before they enter your store. And of course, this is also known as personalization. So personalisation was chosen as a topic for today's webinar because it's a topic of interest by the members of the National Retail Association community. But it's not simply a hot trend of the moment that everyone's talking about. It's also consumers are calling out for it. Consumers in a 2016 study by Time Trade ranked prompt service, personalised service, and smart recommendations as what they value most when shopping in a retail store. Customers want you to personalize your retail offer as it caters exactly to their time-poor lifestyles and desire for convenient, seamless experiences. You're taking out the pain points and maximizing the pleasure points of the purchase journey. Just ask Coca Cola. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with this campaign. In 2011, Coca Cola launched their Share a Coke campaign with the primary objective of increasing consumption of Coca Cola over the summer period in Australia. If you're not aware, basically Coke printed 150 of the country's most popular names on the labels of Coke bottles for the first time in the brand's history. Now, the results of this personalisation strategy saw a 7% increase in consumption by young adults, making 2011 the most successful summer ever for Coca Cola in Australia. The campaign went wild on social media. They had over 18 million media impressions, and their traffic on their Facebook page increased by 870%. So what's the magic formula here? Well, of course, it's all down to the emotional connection between the brand and the consumer. We may not normally pick up a bottle of Coca-Cola in our weekly shop, but there's something extra exciting about spotting a product on the shelf with your name on it, especially when it's a renowned brand like Coke. When we see this bottle with our name on it, an instant emotion is triggered, and when opinions based on emotions are formed, all rational thinking goes straight out the window. So what is the lesson we can take from this? Well, it's that creating a strong emotional connection between the brand and consumer will always make you sales. And why? Because we are human beings after all. We are driven by emotion. Today, we all recognize that consumer behavior can no longer be predicted, and yet all voices still need to be heard. As retailers attempt to be more relevant to their target audiences and cater to their unique needs, we have seen many adapting their service offers and store experience strategies to engage with what we call prosumers. By opening up the supply chain and encouraging consumers to become the active producers of their own products, brands have the opportunity to still have major impact within their desired audiences whilst lessening the risk factor. And it pays off. I'm sure everyone, if you're based in Australia, is familiar with the Australian retailer Shoes of Prey. Now, they launched in 2009 as a startup, and they have since become a pioneer for in the custom shoe e-commerce space, allowing customers to fully customize their own shoes. So from an online startup based out of Sydney, they now have a growing bricks and mortar portfolio, and last year moved to the States to set up their new head office. Now, although the company keeps its sales data close to its chest on just how many shoes have been actually sold, it's reported that over 10 million shoes have been designed on the site since launch. And in 2014, the company had grown by 250% in 12 months, and sales were approaching $10 million. So it really pays to personalize. There are numerous examples of personalization in various product categories, especially in the mid to premium high street sectors, where consumers are willing to pay extra for the added value that comes from a personalized product or experience. Australian startup Mon Purse has been rapidly expanding its store strategy in the past 12 months, as its personalisation and customisation strategy in women's leather goods has been extremely well received in the Australian market. And I suggest maybe after this webinar you check out Mon Purse because it's a really interesting consumer model. Globally, we have seen many retailers explore personalised offerings. There are so many to name: Nike IDs, Converse, Burberry, Bespoke. We could fill a whole webinar of retail examples. UK retailer John Lewis, for example, says that personalisation has been key with its any shape, any fabric furniture design service, which has accounted for nearly 70% of all its made-to-order upholstery sales. So it really pays to personalise. If you are interested in more case study examples of personalisation from around the world, do get in touch after this webinar. So recently, we have also seen this concept developed at the lower end of the market too, with the McDonald's Create Your Taste campaign. We set out to trial this service. We headed down to McDonald's, and we found that whilst engaging for customers and exciting on first try, ultimately the new technology that is used for this personalised service comes at a mighty cost to franchisees. So apparently it costs between $120,000 to $160,000 US dollars to implement this for a one franchisee, which is an extremely expensive bet in order to drive sales. So what can we do if we don't have this sort of budget, or perhaps we're not offering a product or service that can be physically personalized like the examples we have seen? Well, let us remember, in this ever-changing world of digital ubiquity, when changing consumer behavior, online versus offline, we can rest assured that there is one thing that has not changed, and that is the basic human need for help. Also, ironically, now that half the world's population has internet access, apparently internet users are forecast to hit 3 billion in 2016, according to Euromonitor, more consumers are actually dwelling on the flip side of digital life and are seeking sanctuary in the human-to-human bricks and mortar experience. So the answer for us is simple. You need to streamline your service offer with a focus on a strong shop floor team. Let's go back to focusing on delivering high-level basic retail standards, and consequently, all retailers, no matter what your size or budget, are able to provide the convenient, efficient, and personalized shopping experience today's digitally exhausted consumer craves. So where do we begin? Well, it's the small things that are vital to make the big things happen, so let's think small. Think about a small boutique where the salesperson knows most customers personally and modifies the selling style to match the preferences of each individual customer. Modern in-store personalization is about taking the best of this boutique scenario and bringing it into the omnichannel retail environment. Personalisation is a key differentiator for small businesses over their larger rivals. Being nimble and at the heart of their operation affords small business owners the luxury of getting their hands dirty, dealing with the community at large. This is not only providing customers with their unique personalised experiences, but providing significant return on investment for business owners, not only through sales, but also the insights gained. Small business owners provide a positive emotional experience to customers. They know their customers' preferences, they can preempt their needs, and actively take an interest in their personal lives and avert any negative feelings of risk by having their skin in the game. Now, of course, as you can see on screen, these kind of statistics have come from the American Express Shop Small report that we backed this year and last year, in fact. And the report recorded that even with a 10% increase in prices, 42% of Australians would still continue to support small family-run businesses for the personalised experience that they receive. So there is so much value in personalisation. As we saw with the Coca Cola example, when faced with a rational choice, emotional attachment wins over cost. In fact, our research shows that emotion influences purchase decisions 6 times more than rationale. While a large business will likely use technology to personalize their communications with customers, the art of putting a face to a name remains a key advantage in building that emotional connection, which has the power to convert into a lifetime of future sales. The Shop Small report revealed 88% of small businesses know their customer preferences, favorite orders, and previous purchases, and 83% can preempt the needs of their customers too. So how many large businesses with multi-million-dollar CRM systems do we know that can still get this right? It costs you 5 times as much to win a new customer than to keep a current one. So it really pays to think small, invest in your shop's floor strategy, to go that extra mile when it comes to delivering a personalized customer service in stores. And also, I'd like to point out, bear in mind your sector too. For example, research has shown consumers would like it if a jeweler, for example, knew their preferences ahead of time. I saw a study recently by Time Trade which said that 81% of consumers surveyed said that if they were making an important purchase from a jeweler, such as an engagement ring, they would like it if the jeweler was expecting them to the store and knew their preferences, such as budget, ring, shape, etc., before they got there. So the fittest retailers that we are coming across are able to deliver this personalized retail offering by activating what we call an effective people strategy. An effective people strategy ensures that your team are engaged, motivated, and delivering the highest standard of personalized customer service to your customers, gaining you significant consumer insights by truly listening and understanding customer needs, and ultimately converting into sales. The greatest asset that a salesperson can have is being a strong, active listener, confident with the right degree of humility and a genuine interest for the customer. And this really comes through to the customer, and I'm sure you've experienced it as a customer yourselves. They should know their product and be enthusiastic when explaining its features and benefits, because between 70 and 80% of purchases are made on impulse. These people will buy add-on products if only someone would ask the question. Investing in training your store staff and listening to customer needs and being able to read body language and having knowledge of your products so that they can make personalized recommendations and upsell is not only helping you convert more sales as a retailer, but is delivering exactly the experience that your consumer is craving. 85% of consumers report that if they try on clothes in a dressing room and find they need a different size, but no sales associate is available, that they would consider abandoning the dressing room and leaving the store altogether. The right sales training supported by an effective people framework will go a long way to delivering a personalized shopping experience for the customer and an increase in sales for you, helping you stay fit and resilient in today's market. So what can we implement today? Let's look at the beginnings of building an effective people strategy and what makes great customer service. So first of all, enrolling your team members into the game plan. After all, customer service is a team game and no successful team ever existed without a common goal. So make sure that is communicated to your staff. Hire people who like people. As simple as it sounds, hiring those who are willing to go the extra mile and then teaching them the skills to enable them to do so will set your team apart from the rest. Keep score. Keep raising the bar on customer service. Customers are evolving and so should your effective people strategy. Reward and incentivize your people on value adding, building personalized customer service. Your customer service heroes are your heroes. So celebrate them, celebrate your staff and their successes. If your staff feel valued and enjoy giving strong customer service, their positivity will be transferred through to the customer experience. Leadership is more about asking more than telling. Your staff are there engaging face-to-face with your customers, so involve them in your store decisions, utilize their insights, and turn these into action. Of course, today in this omnichannel environment that we're all working in, the customer experience doesn't end just at the sale. We live in an omnichannel society, so post-sale, with the power of social media, we have the ability to continue this conversation and this relationship. For example, simple things to do. Are you tracking the tags when someone posts on Twitter or Facebook about their purchase in your store? A simple reply of, "We hope you enjoyed your new dress," will go a long way in reminding your customer of their personalized shopping experience, making them feel valued and building loyalty, dramatically increasing your chances of future sales. And I've put HelloFresh on here as they're a great example of using personalization to reward their customers and remembering previous purchases and their previous behavior. So I'm conscious of the time, so we're going to need to wrap it up shortly, but I just wanted to touch on one last question that I haven't covered yet. I've tried to answer everyone else's questions. This was the last one, raised by Terry Mitchell from the Profit Frog, on how far do you take personalization? It's a really important question, as I'm sure everyone is familiar with the story of when Target figured out a teenage girl was pregnant before her father did. Now, if you haven't heard of this example, it's a famous story of how targeted marketing went slightly wrong, so have a Google after this webinar. Ultimately, consumers are wary of brands stalking them or knowing too much about them. However, as we mentioned earlier with the jewelry example, research has shown that consumers are willing to provide brands and retailers with information and/or data if this ensures that they can have a more seamless, convenient, and efficient shopping experience. It all comes down to listening to your unique needs of your unique customers in order to cater your personalization strategy directly to their needs. So we could talk for hours on the many other aspects of personalization. However, it is obviously time to conclude. So thank you to all who have submitted questions and thoughts and have helped build the structure of this webinar. Today, we have concluded that whilst the retail sector is evolving at a greater speed than ever before, and consumers want their products and services faster than ever before, what has not changed is the need for help. And with the growing fear of digital ubiquity, consumers are choosing human-to-human ways to receive it when it comes to retail. Modern in-store personalization is all about thinking small, creating a strong emotional connection, investing in an effective people strategy, and bringing the best out of this boutique scenario and bringing it into this omnichannel retail environment. So thanks for joining me this afternoon. You will be able to listen again and share this webinar with others via the NRA Digital Business Kits website. Do get in touch, Vikki at retaildoctor.com.au with your webinar topic requests and questions for our future webinars. And also do get in touch if you're interested in more about this effective people strategy that we're constantly helping retailers build to get the most out of their personalized retail offerings. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you in a month's time. Thank you.